The Australian Financial Review.
According to this boss, working from the office is vital for any aspiring executive.
They need to be, ideally, working in the office with their colleagues, their peers, their leaders to contribute to the culture, contribute to the community and keep learning. Because if they're not there, they'll be falling behind.
Welcome to 15 Minutes with the Boss, a podcast about success, failure and the lessons learnt along the way. I'm your host, Sally Patton, and my guest today is Chris Karagounis, the managing partner of executive search firm Alex Kaar Australia. Based in Melbourne, the firm specialises in recruiting senior leaders and also runs an executive transition program aimed at helping senior executives who have been made redundant get back on their feet. Thank you so much for coming into the Melbourne studio today, Chris. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Sally. I'm flattered to be here.
Now, I have to just start by asking, in your experience at the moment, are there more senior executives being made redundant? Is there any sort of trend going on there?
Well, we're in a very interesting economic cycle where we're in a low growth cycle and it's just harder to sell stuff. Doesn't matter what industry one's in, it's just difficult. There are exceptions, of course. And it's easier to find profit through cost control and transformation than it is to sell more stuff. So there's a huge emphasis on transformation. And in a world of data, it's quite easy to identify who are the folk that are making impact and who are the folk that aren't, right? And that's brutal.
So are you finding that executives are bearing the brunt of this?
Everyone's feeling it in corporate environment, whether you're the security guard at the front desk or you're the chief executive at the top. Everybody needs to be demonstrating how they're creating value. And this isn't the first time this has happened in corporate anywhere. It's middle management that becomes overweight through boom times. And we had a boom time post the COVID period. And we've had a number of years where there was a huge emphasis on people's work-life balance and working from home and focusing on themselves as opposed to contributing in the workplace. And now it's about performance, and the good old-fashioned fundamentals of revenues less expenses have never been more true.
Yes, I can imagine. Now, Chris, we've only got 15 minutes. I'm going to start the clock right now. And my first question is about your morning routine. What time do you get up? What happens? Do you run a marathon every morning?
I think I'm going to let a lot of people down, Sally. I don't set the alarm for 4:15 and I don't meditate and I don't journal in the morning. I typically press snooze, to be honest. I tend to get my energy more from people as opposed to a gym class, although I do need to go to the gym more, and I try to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. But most mornings I'm up at 6-ish and try to do something, whether it be a walk with someone or go to the gym. But unfortunately, I don't do the 5 or 4 a.m. starts.
Okay, sounds good. My next question is about a pivotal moment in your career. Was there a promotion you were given, a project you worked on, something that happened that changed the trajectory of what you were doing?
The global financial crisis was probably a pivotal moment for me when I was a young managing partner at Alex Kaar, 2008, 2009. And it was the first time I had to face into something pretty significant. And at the time, a huge percentage of the firm's work was in financial services. So we got completely nailed at that time. And it was very, very stressful for a year where the expenses were greater than the revenues. And you had to underpin the firm with money out of your home offset account. So that taught me a lot about cash flow. That taught me a lot about my own resilience. It was incredibly stressful.
So what was the impact of the financial crisis on Alex Kaar?
The firm started in 2005, and at the time, banking was in a boom, and that's where most of the opportunities were. So we naturally gravitated our activity in that sector. And before we knew it, nearly 100% of our revenue was from financial services, and the global financial crisis was a credit crunch that stopped the flow of capital, and that had severe consequences for the white-collar market at the time, especially in financial services. And at the time, given most of our relationships and clients were in the banking and financial services sector, we got hugely exposed, and we had to think about diversification. And we're now in a different spot now where the banking and financial services sector we aren't as reliant on.
And do you think that changed the trajectory of your career?
Well, what it did change, it taught me and the firm a lot about diversification. So the firm is evenly spread across many sectors, and that's quite deliberate. So in some ways, the best thing to ever happen to me and the worst thing to ever happen to me was the global financial crisis and the consequences to the firm. And I'm sure many people will resonate with this. It's you learn the most about yourself and you learn the most lessons when things are really tough and you recover from it. So looking back, it was a very, very tough time when you're in it. But looking back now, I'm actually grateful that I did experience it because I've got antibodies now to almost deal with anything.
You're right. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine. What is the best piece of career advice you've ever been given?
I was told years ago by a leader, and I was a very ambitious 30-year-old entering the executive search space, and I think I asked him something along the lines of, what do I need to be you? And he said, hang around wise people.
And have you done that?
Yeah, I do.
And among those wise people, what are some of the really wise things they have taught you?
Being patient, listen, deeply listen, and delay your response, even if you have a instinctive response. Just pause and be very calm about things. And not that I've been given this advice because I'm instinctively like this, but to be successful in business, it's really important to play the long game. And there's lots of folk out there that try to retire off the deal that's in front of them.
So, Chris, what does playing the long game mean in your case? Does it mean constantly meeting people that you may not be able to place in the short term, but they may be perfect for some job down the track? Does it mean if you lose a tender that you don't have a hissy fit with a client because, the tender might come back in a year or two?
Absolutely. And I can sit here till tomorrow giving you examples of people that I have been in dialogue with, and they're investing in me as well. So it's a two-way relationship. But there's people that we've appointed into roles that we've known for 15 years and they've been appointed. And there are people that I met a month ago that are being appointed that hadn't heard of me 2 months ago. And of course, you don't have a hissy fit if you lose or you're not selected for a tender, because often how you respond to losing says something about you. And if you lose something, well, you've got to learn from it. And one thing I try to teach young people in business that are embarking on a career in business you hear the word no more than you hear the word yes. We always hear no. No, I can't see you today, Chris, or no, we're not going to give you that work, or someone's presenting to the board. Very rarely does a board say yes the first time.
So you've got to be patient.
Absolutely. Otherwise you drive yourself crazy.
Chris, stay where you are. We are going to take a short break, and when we come back, you pick the questions. I'll see you soon. Welcome back to 15 Minutes with the Boss. I'm here with Chris Karagounis, the managing partner of Alex Kaar in Australia. Now, Chris, in front of me, not you, I'm afraid, because we are in different cities, is a cardboard box. You're going to have to trust me to pick out a question one by one, and we'll get going with some more Q&A. Are you ready to get started?
Let's go.
What part of your job don't you like very much?
It's probably two things. I struggle with people that are average, and I don't like any administration.
So let's start with the former. How do you handle people who are average? What do you do about it?
Over 25 years of doing this, the radar and the system in how we assess and benchmark one exec from the other, it's unlikely that an average underperforming exec will end up in our offices. So very rarely am I in front of someone that isn't a high performer, because clients pay us to hire high performers. If they wanted to hire average people, they can go to Seek and LinkedIn and do it for free. The industry is only prepared to pay our industry of search for the best people. So for headhunters to do their job properly, their expectations need to be higher than the clients. And when I say average, I don't mean an average human. They might be great people and they might be great human beings. But the lens that we have to look through professionally is can we put this person on a shortlist to meet a client brief. So it's not about average person, it's about average capability. And what does grind my gears is people that are delusional, that think they're super capable, but the reality of their capability is there's a delta between what they think they are and what they actually are.
And do you find that very common?
Yes.
But they've just learned to market themselves, I assume.
Well, there's two conversations here. There's doing your job well, and then there's managing your career well. So there's plenty of people out there that are in senior roles that have managed their careers well that don't do a great job. But also there's people that do a great job that haven't managed their careers well, they don't manage their advocacy well, they don't manage their reputation well, they don't manage their relationships well. So they're a rough diamond hiding. And sometimes we find these people and we can give them a bit of a nudge.
So what would you encourage, say, young executives to do to make sure they fall into the category of people who are really good at their job as opposed to just managing their careers well? What advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing is they need to have unwavering work ethic and a positive attitude and a growth mindset. That's number one. Second, they need to be, ideally, working in the office with their colleagues, their peers, their leaders to contribute to the culture, contribute to the community and keep learning. Because if they're not there, they'll be falling behind.
So actually just on that, do you find a lot of senior executives, I mean really senior executives, actually want to work at home a lot?
It's a very interesting question there. Working from home it's extraordinary how people see that as a right. I believe that people need to be together. It doesn't mean that we don't have flexibility to do the things that we need to do as parents or whatever it is that we need to have flexibility for. But there are people that will still ask us questions when we approach them for the role, what the working from home protocols are.
And what level of people are we talking about? General managers and above?
Less so these days, but definitely below general manager. Those questions get asked all the time, and there are clients that will tell us to not shortlist people that ask those questions, because if that question is asked, it just shows that they're prioritising their lifestyle as opposed to their career.
Okay, we'll have another question. I'm going to fish on your behalf. When you put general managers and potential C-suite candidates in front of clients, what are those clients asking those candidates about AI and their understanding and their use and their preparedness to embrace AI? Is that a real topic of conversation?
Not yet. We are starting to be briefed on roles such as Chief AI Officer for organisations. So there's a lot of that going on. But AI is another technology tool that everybody needs to embrace. And if you're not embracing any technology that is being developed that creates efficiency, you'll be left behind. But the reality is there's no expert on AI yet. There's lots of talk, but there are no AI experts, especially in Australia.
So even if companies are reporting, say, a chief customer officer, a chief people officer, are they not asking questions around the candidates' use of AI, their preparedness to embrace AI, to experiment with it? Is that not a topic that's coming up very much? I would have thought it would have by now.
It's implied, it's expected that people at this level are embracing all forms of technology to create efficiency in what they do and what impact they can make in their business. And I see it in our own firm. We're embracing it every day. And the thing with AI is that it's machine learning. Whatever it did yesterday, it's doing it better tomorrow, and it'll be doing it better next week. And this time next year, it'll be doing it differently.
So do you tell all the candidates that you meet to make sure they're on the AI train fully? Because I doubt very much that everybody has really got that message yet.
It's human nature to not embrace change, right? Now, headhunters have been telling all executives, you've got to remain contemporary. So years ago, I was telling executives to embrace social media. You need to have a digital footprint. You need to understand social media. Even if you don't have an Instagram page, you still have to understand it because it'll impact your business. So AI is just another tool that executives need to stay on top of. Otherwise, the technology will pass them and they won't be contemporary and they'll be left behind. And instead of them engaging with our recruitment business, they'll be engaging with our executive transition business.
Right. Do you see much reluctance among people that you place to embrace this technology? As you said, a lot of us are really resistant to change.
Well, I preface it by saying most people that would be invited into our office would be high-performance people, and high-performance people love AI. They love what it does to create efficiency in what they do. But what AI is going to do, it's going to make the capable people even more capable. And those that aren't so capable, the B squad, they're going to move further down the chain. So the gap's going to widen between those that can make impact and those that can't.
Okay, very good advice. I love that. I've now got one last question, which we ask all our guests, and that is, if for some reason you weren't the managing partner in your current role, what would you be doing?
I'd be a rowing coach.
A rowing coach. Do tell, why a rowing coach?
Well, one of the most enjoyable parts of being at school was rowing. I enjoyed the training, I enjoyed the racing, I enjoyed the camaraderie, I enjoyed the competitiveness, I enjoyed the discipline of it, but I was never good enough to keep going with rowing. And I used to be a rowing coach at the university. I coached at some schools and I loved it.
Well, Chris, I wish you all the best in your next career as a rowing coach. On that note, our time is up. Thank you so much for allowing us to spend 15 minutes with the boss.
Thank you, Sally. Great work. Thank you.
And thank you to everyone for listening. If you like the podcast and you want to hear more, consider sharing the podcast or writing a review, as it helps us to reach more people. And follow us wherever you get your podcasts. At the Financial Review, we investigate the big stories about markets, business and power. For more, go to afr.com, and you can subscribe to the Financial Review, the daily habit of successful people, at afr.com/subscribe. This podcast was hosted by me, Sally Patton, produced and edited by Iona Rennie. Head of audio is Alex Kaar, and our executive producer is Fiona Buffini. See you next week.
The Australian Financial Review.